This is full disgrace and pretty much unprecedented as far as we can see. We were told Prince Andrew couldn't stop being a prince because he was a son of the late Queen, but they've found a way to do it, and they've found a way to do a lot else besides. And he's going to, as you said, no longer live in Windsor, but in a sort of internal exile, in some sort of property on the Sandringham estate. He's going to be funded, some sort of income is going to come to him from the King. The King's pretty clear that's not going to be Crown Estate money. In no way could people say it was the state supporting him. But this is the most extraordinary set of arrangements that have been announced. It gives you a sense of the scale of the damage that the royal family think that it's quite hard to stop calling him Prince Andrew, that Andrew Mountbatten Windsor had been inflicting on the institution, and also the breadth of feeling across the royal family about this man and the serious lapses of judgment we understand that the royal family feel he had shown. So it's not just the King acting here. This is very much Prince William, the Prince of Wales, feeling that this should be done. And as we understand it, the government have been fully consulted. Previous to this, you will have heard that he was no longer going to be called the Duke of York. That was all about him surrendering his titles, agreeing not to use them. This is stripping him of his titles. This is going to a degree that it is hard to remember any sort of precedent for. It is, as I say, full-scale disgrace.
Buckingham Palace has released the following statement. His Majesty has today initiated a formal process to remove the style, titles and honours of Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew will now be known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. His lease on Royal Lodge has, to date, provided him with legal protection to continue in residence. Formal notice has now been served to surrender the lease, and he will move to alternative private accommodation. These censures are deemed necessary, notwithstanding the fact that he continues to deny the allegations against him. Their Majesties wish to make clear that their thoughts and utmost sympathies have been and will remain with the victims and the survivors of any and all forms of abuse. Well, I'm joined now by David Yelland, who's the former editor of the Sun newspaper and host of the podcast When It Hits the Fan. David Yelland, it's good to have you on the programme. It really has hit the fan for Andrew Windsor tonight, hasn't it?
Good evening, Matt. Yeah, we have never seen anything like this before. I think the first thing I would say, and I've literally jumped off the tube to run in the studio, so I'm still sweating, is this is a superb statement by the Palace. They have got the other side of this crisis, and they have made the crisis about the victims. It's what they should have done in the first place, but they've got there, and they've got there quite quickly, and I think they should be commended for doing so. But this is a crisis that will now run for days and days. We've not seen anything like this since the death of Diana, but I think in the end, the King will win the day.
But it's also a little bit more complicated than the statement would imply, isn't it? Because for the title Prince to be taken away, you need an Act of Parliament, don't you? So this will be in the House of Commons, and it could be quite a bruising debate.
This is exactly what the royal family tries to avoid. They will be discussed in Parliament, in both houses, day after day. And, of course, those people that wish to look at the finances of the royal family and other aspects and its entire future will be given an opportunity to do so. There is an element of existential risk here in this crisis to the Palace, which is why I think they've acted as they have done. But this is the full Monty. They have gone for it. They would have had all kinds of other options, less dramatic options, perhaps kinder options to Andrew, but they have chosen not to pursue those. And we're entering slightly unknown territory. There'll be a lot of nerves, I think, in the Palace and in Downing Street as well, because you've got to remember, it's less than, 10 days since we had that statement which basically allowed Andrew to pretend he was not using the titles. Now, that handed the initiative and the control of the communications to Andrew, and that was a severe error. That was a very big public relations mistake by the Palace. But what they've done today, this evening, puts that right with knobs on.
But there are still other questions, aren't there? There's the money. Where did the supposed £12 million in order to pay off a woman that Andrew claimed never to have met come from. What about Sarah Ferguson? What arrangements are there for her?
You can see in the briefing in the British press the last week that Sarah Ferguson has her PR people out there, so they will be briefing tonight, and that's an uncontrollable element of this. And yes, where did the money come from? Anyone that's read Andrew Leonie's superb book will have a pretty good idea, but there are allegations in that book I wouldn't repeat here because I'd suggest to your viewers they go and read the book, but that stuff's going to come out under parliamentary privilege. So we are going to see into the finances of Andrew, and that is going to happen quite quickly. So this is what we call in our Radio 4 programme a fan hitter. This is a fan hitter which will morph day by day. This time next week, it could well be worse than it is now, but it'll certainly be
Do you really think
big.
that? You don't think this is not the final?
Well, it's certainly worse. It'll certainly be
saga.
worse for Andrew and for Sarah Ferguson. The global nature of this, the fact that it's going to be discussed in Parliament, I don't know how quickly they'll get time to do so, but we have a very febrile atmosphere in the country at the moment. Just look at the polls. You know, if I was in the palace, I'd be saying, look how quickly reform have gone to, I think it's 27% or whatever it is. That means the public move, and they move fast. And I think, I think the palace are aware of that.
And David, do you think the royal family was genuinely panicking that if they didn't put a stop to this, this might imperil their own future?
I do. I wouldn't want to use the word panic, but I suspect that Prince William, Prince of Wales, is behind a lot of this because I think there would have been an element of panic. Certainly, they knew, they could tell. As we said in our programme this week, they took an instinctive view of where the British public is on this. And I think the public is so angry about what has happened. But this will put the statement and the follow-up will show. We've never seen, have you ever seen a statement like this from the palace? I have never seen anything like it.
OK. Never. David Yedlin, thank you very much for coming on.